Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar, Family Care Partners. Yes, thanks. We are doing fine. Co-hosted by Family Councils Ontario and CARP Ottawa. My name is Taeyang Zhang, and I'm the events manager at FCO, and I'll be your co-host for today. Before we start, I would like to take a moment to recognize the land on which we are gathered today. I am currently in Toronto, which is seated on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. So just wanted to share a few housekeeping rules before I turn things over to my co-host Carol to introduce our guest speakers. So as you may have noticed, everybody is in listen-only mode right now. So there will be reserved time at the end for an interactive question and answer period. Margaret from CARP will facilitate that period. So you are more than welcome to answer your questions to our guest speakers using the Q&A box. Throughout the presentation and also during that allocated interactive question and answer period. You're also welcome to use the chat box all throughout the webinar just to, have a conversation with us. If you have any maybe logistic questions for Family Councils Ontario, I'll be monitoring the chat and answering them as well. And as you may have seen, this webinar is being recorded, so it will be available on Family Council's Ontario YouTube channel following this webinar, probably next week. And if you haven't done so already, I encourage you to subscribe to Family Council's Ontario weekly e-bulletin, where we will announce when the video will be published. So thank you all once again for being here. And now I will pass the floor to my co-host Carol to introduce our guest speakers.
Thanks very much, Tay. Yesterday was a good day in that Family Council of Ontario presented their town hall, and they told us about all of the exciting things that they're doing and growing, and the funding that they've gotten. So have a peek at their webpage and see what else is coming down that they'll share with all of us. Um, you have probably seen a number of webinars that Quag has put on, which is the small working group for long-term care out of CARP. And it'll tell you there what we've been up to for the last little while, and it'll show all the various new innovative models that are there. Um, right, right now, we want to share as many possible with people out there, as well as the government that supports all of this, so that a lot of people can understand about building small homes and building a home that has all the models that are really person-centered. So we need you to help share the story out there so more people hear about it, and then we can knock on the government's door and say, help more of the homes do what they're doing. It's important to hear the voices of family because you're an important care model or care partner rather of people who live in our homes. So it's really exciting to be able to hear from two provinces, at least across Canada, about their journey on doing this. We really want to hear from them. There's three people that have different models that they've been using. They may have had input to it when the home decided which one they wanted to do. So we want to kind of hear some of those five W's. Why did the home choose the one you got? Is it fit with the model and the atmosphere and the environment that you had at the beginning? Is it working? What's needs tweaking? What makes it feel good? We want to know who's smiling. That's it, since you put that into place, and then where? What's next? What's happening that has to? Because the models are never all done. You have to keep growing. You have to keep teaching new people as they arrive. And sort of the when, how long did this take? And are you still in the take mode of trying to learn and do things? So we're really interested to hear what you have to tell us. So we have three speakers. and I'll let them introduce themselves and tell you a little bit from where they are. But we're going out to BC, to Comox, to hear from Judy. Come back to Ontario and listen to Ingrid as she talks from Medcalf, Ontario. And then we're going to the capital, and Donna can share what's happening at the Glebe in Ottawa. So I'm going to turn it over and ask Judy to turn her mic on and lead us through what's good and what's not.
Well, good morning. At least it's good morning on Vancouver Island.
Yeah.
Good day to everybody else. And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk about the care that Lauren is receiving. I'm so excited to tell you about it. I only have 10 minutes, so I hope you don't mind if I read it because I don't want to forget anything important. I'm just so excited about this. Okay. First of all, I'd like to talk about Lauren's first day in long-term care. When I first dropped Lauren off at the Views 3 years ago, I felt like I was dropping my baby off at the Sitters for the first time. I was anxious, I had trust issues, which were soon dissolved, and I felt immense sadness. Then there were the feelings of guilt. I felt guilty that I could no longer look after him on my own. I hope I don't cry here. I
That's
had
okay.
fabricated an excuse to bring him into long-term care and then left without him or without saying goodbye. I felt deceitful. I also felt guilty over the relief that I was feeling about handing over the reins to a competent team of loving, careful professionals. Returning home to an empty house was very hard. All Lauren's possessions were still there. His garage was full of his large collection of tools, but Lauren was missing. I had no idea of the emotional impact that would hit me at this time. The sense of loss, loneliness, sadness, and some fear, knowing that I was now in charge of all the chores that Lauren did. What really shocked me into reality was when Revenue Canada considered me separated. I knew different though. I still had a connection with the love of my life. And I still wear my wedding ring, which is even more precious than ever before. I didn't realize at the time that I was going through and still am what is called ambiguous grief. Lauren is still here physically. There's a different person than he once was. He's changing all the time. I feel that I'm slowly losing him. What made me feel worse was another resident has latched onto Lauren, probably thinking he was her husband. That was so hard. Usually it's the dementia residents, rather than the males who will do this, you'll figure. Thank goodness Lauren was moved to a different section. Now comes the exciting part. In 2017, with the help of generous donors and a vision and mandate to improve the quality of life of seniors and younger people who needed 24/7 care, Providence Living Foundation was born. Fast forward to July 2024, all 156 residents were moved from the old 100-year-old building, which was formerly the St. Joseph's Hospital, into a brand new state-of-the-art complex. This is the first public, non-profit seniors home of its kind in Canada. The entire multi-million complex was financed through Providence Living with the fundraising efforts of St. Paul's Foundation and the Comox Valley Healthcare Foundation here on the island. As well, the provincial government provides subsidized living for all of the residents, all 156 of them. This new seniors project is based on the theme of Dementia Village, first introduced in the Netherlands. You've probably heard of it. And it is now aptly called Providence Living at the Views. This foundation is currently working on 3 more such concepts in BC, in Quesnel, Prince George, and another one in Vancouver. I am hoping with all my heart that this new concept can be expanded across Canada. Before I talk about my impact as a caregiver on this move, I need to describe this new village that we have here in Comox. The 3-story new complex is kind of oval shaped. I have a picture. There's one level there. Kind of gives you an idea of it. In the inside of this oval shaped building is a lovely courtyard in the middle where the residents are free to access at all times. There are raised garden plots for the garden enthusiasts. Each household has their own little garden, a barbecue area, pathways, flower beds, a small multi-denominational chapel, as well as an Indigenous spiritual gathering place. As well, there are several gazebos with seating. You can find painted rocks scattered throughout with inspirational sayings such as, "You are loved." The windows and households are decorated to match the season. The main building includes public bistro with a balcony overlooking the beautiful ocean, as well as access to the courtyard. There's a daycare to encourage multi-generational interaction, a monitored exercise room with a physiotherapist and occupational therapist. There's a library, community center with all kinds of entertainment, music, activities going on all the time. There's a hair salon, a dental office where a hygienist comes in all the time, as well as a consulting physician's room, convenience grocery store, interactive screen for driving, a boardroom. There's an art studio, which has their own art teacher, and a robot running around doing all the heavy lifting, if you can imagine that. Every resident has a tracking device so no one could get lost. There are bus excursions and even special bikes equipped to carry the residents around. The preschool children pay a visit now and then, which is also very popular. Sometimes they bring homemade cards for all the residents, and that brings tears to everybody's eyes. They also have visits from dogs and kittens. The second and third floor are divided into 7 communities, each with 2 households. I said 7 communities, that's wrong. There's 13 communities, each with 2 households. Every household has 12 residents. Each has a cozy lounge with a fireplace and easy chairs. All residents have their own room with bathroom and shower. The kitchen is fully equipped with an adjoining dining room. There's a laundry room in each section as well. One 95-year-old resident, she knit me a pair of slippers, and not only that, she bakes cookies in her own household, 95. The whole idea of this new concept is what we call home for us, and it's all about feeling. It doesn't feel like an institution. The residents are in control of their own schedule and retain their level of individuality, independence, identity, and dignity. And this is so true. I feel very much a part of the team and enjoy my visits. If a resident sleeps in, they will have breakfast waiting for them later on. If they don't like the meal they are served, they will be offered an alternative. Meals are varied, very creative, and absolutely delicious. This is about the staff. Place can be beautiful, but the important part are the staff. They are amazing. All of them. I just love them, and I know they love me. We're just part of a big family. In each household, there are on duty at any given time 2 care aides per household. That's 12 residents, a kitchen server, and 1 LPN for the 2 households. There's also a vast network of additional staff making this home for us run smoothly. The families of residents are also included and welcomed in any activity or holiday meals. I quite often go to the musical concerts with Lauren. There are 2 family meetings held each month. One is to discuss any concerns and to announce any changes in protocol. And if family members can't come in person, there's a Zoom meeting along with it. The second, which is so important to me, is a support group where we can share our feelings with other family members. The views recognizes that we are indeed very involved with our loved ones' care, and we're part of the team. They understand that this is a difficult time for us, stirring up a multitude of emotions. The entire fleet of workers all have built-in desire to give love and compassion to help those in need. Their attention extends to all visitors and family members as well. I've never felt so welcome, and I really feel like I'm part of the team. I'm very fond of all the staff and other residents. When I arrive to visit, I'm greeted. When I leave, I get lots of goodbyes. This is my second home. I sometimes think it's my first home. This place has shown me how to be a better person. I enjoy helping out and getting coffee for others. I know everybody what they take in their coffee, cream, sugar, whatever. Lauren is always clean, content, and dressed, as well as all of the others. The caregivers are amazing. They coordinate what they wear. A care aide will tell me about Lauren's day and what activities Lauren has been involved with. He has late-stage vascular dementia as well as Alzheimer's, and he is now in a wheelchair. He tries to communicate in his own unique language. He has aphasia, and he sleeps a lot, but he still gets lots of attention and is wheeled to several activities in the community hall, usually music, because he's a born musician.
Judy,
There are so many.
Judy, sorry
Yes.
to butt in. Your
No,
time is.
fine.
Are you nearly through? It's been
Oh,
wonderful.
You know
Wonderful.
what? I only have 2 paragraphs left. I'll speed up.
Okay,
It's
great.
It's so important. I'm sorry.
Yes,
No,
no problem.
all right. Good stuff.
Okay, it's just a little bit more, but it's so important. Lauren is always clean, content, and dressed as all the others. The caregivers will tell me about Lauren's day and what activity is being involved in. Oh, I've mentioned that part. If I have any concern about Lauren's health, I'm able to approach the on-duty nurse right away. If she cannot answer my concern, she would talk with the doctor and get back to me right away. If either Lauren or myself has an emotional issue, I can discuss the matter in private with our very own social worker. Once a year, they have annual, I call it a report card. Everyone in there has the dietitian, everyone at the meeting there's a dietitian, doctor, social worker, pharmacist. Everyone in the family is welcome to attend and ask questions and voice their concerns. In conclusion, Lauren has been in care for over 3 years now. When I'm not there, I never worry about him. I know he's being looked after in a safe, nurturing home where he is loved. Thank you for listening to my story.
Thank you for sharing it, Judy. Good to hear all the promising things and the fact that you feel good about it. And sorry we had to niggle at you, but it was a good story. We're going to turn it over to Ingrid and see what you can tell us about the story where you are.
Okay, thanks very much for giving me the opportunity to share our family's experience with long-term care. In our case, it's my mother who's 93 and has dementia. She entered Osgood Care Center about 2.5 years ago after my dad, who was her primary caregiver at home, passed away suddenly. It was difficult for her at first, but after several months, she began to adjust, and I'm not sure exactly how long, but she began to refer to Osgood as home. She even made the comment at the time that the staff treated her like family and not like a patient, which was very heartwarming for us to hear. So the Osgood Care Center, as was mentioned, is in a just outside Ottawa in the town of Metcalfe. It has 100 residents and it's located in a rural setting. The model of care they follow is the Eden alternative with a goal of empowering residents to feel valued and important. I'm just going to quote what they say, creating a more human-centered environment that combats loneliness, helplessness, and boredom. I'm not going to say more about the details of the model. I think that's maybe covered somewhere else. But I do want to make the comment that at Osgood, these are not just words. This is very clearly something that they have adopted and implemented. And I hope the examples I give in the next little bit as I talk show how they have really tried to combat these issues with people in medical institutions that are not homes. Theirs is a home. So there's a really relaxed, comfortable feel as you walk into this home. The staff often say hello, and it's not unusual for them to share a story about my mother, like what activity she's participated in, or more recently, as her dementia has progressed, it's more focused on stories about how she ate or slept or how she's feeling that day. When thinking about how to describe our family's experience, at the Osgood Care Center, I thought it would be useful to have you walk with me through the home as I make my way to my mother's room. So that's the approach I'm going to use. So here we go. You enter the home into the atrium. It's a space where when you enter, you see people milling about, sitting at little tables, chatting. There might be, during mealtime, a family member that's sharing a meal at a little table with their family. This is a larger space where they have events like musical performances, and the home shares a newsletter once a month. And in that newsletter, they do list the events that are coming up so that we have the opportunity to join our family member should we choose to. Off to the right of the atrium is a little sitting area. It's called a library. There are big picture windows that overlook the main entrance into the building. There's comfortable chairs there, and you'll often see residents sitting there just watching people come and go into the home. So exiting the atrium, as we walk along to my mother's room, scattered along the way are small workstations with all kinds of activities, and it's not unusual to see a staff member sitting at one of these tables helping with a puzzle or an activity, or just sitting there chatting with one of the residents, or maybe even walking with them down the hall. As you continue along down the hall, there's you pass a little alcove and it's called the greenhouse. And as the name suggests, it's filled with plants and it's a space where residents can sit and enjoy the plants, or they may even ask to participate in the care of the plants. I'll pause my tour for a minute and describe some of the things that Osgood does to recognize that residents all had interests and hobbies before entering the home, and what they do to help residents have these experiences at the home. And obviously, an obvious example is the one with the plants. They can go in there and help care for those plants. And many residents have had pets before entering the home, and like all homes, Osgood recognizes the importance of pets, and they encourage families to bring in pets. They don't have a resident pet, but they do encourage families to bring in their pets. I sometimes bring in our golden retriever, who happens to be the perfect height, with his head at the wheelchair or chair level, so that that residents can easily pet him, and it just brings a smile to their face when they see a pet like our dog come in. I also, on the theme of pets, have heard that an individual who missed having fish. They actually installed an aquarium in this residence room so they can enjoy the fish that they no longer had in their room. Music is a big part of all our lives, and it certainly is important to residents. There are many opportunities for the residents to hear and participate in musical events. My mom is a very good at playing the harmonica and would sometimes play for other residents. I did hear from the mother of sort of the daughter of one of the other residents who my mother played for, that her mom just loved to listen to my mom play the harmonica. And I'm sure it felt good for my mom to share something that she loved to do with the other residents. Um, there's a recognition in the home that the residents all had roles in society before entering the home. They might have been teachers, they might have been members of board of directors. And an example I'll describe is my mom. She was on the board of directors for a little local museum. And one of the events that the museum holds every year is a strawberry social. And at that social, my mom she was responsible for procuring the strawberries and preparing them, etc. So when the home had a strawberry social event, there was my mom front and center preparing and cleaning the strawberries. And I'm sure that that made her feel very useful and appreciated. The staff knows that my mom likes to play dominoes, so as we continue on our tour down the hall, we come to a cozy little TV room with a fireplace. There's a little activity table in there, and the staff took the initiative to organize a group of ladies to play dominoes with my mom every Friday afternoon. And I know they also play dominoes with her one-on-one in her room. So again, there's a real effort made by the staff to real attention paid to what the residents enjoy and like to do, and they really make an effort to try and see if they can help them do those things. So continuing on our tour, up next is the dining room. This is the dining room where my mom has her meals. This is the smaller of two dining rooms at the home. It has lovely big picture windows that overlook a small garden. Um, the staff make a real effort to arrange the seating to accommodate the individual's personalities. So, for example, in my mom's case, she is an immigrant from the Netherlands, and so they placed her at a table with two other ladies from the Netherlands. So again, that's something that she appreciated and enjoyed. At the entrance of the dining room is a whiteboard where the daily activities are posted. Not long after my mother entered the home, I asked if we could have a schedule ahead of time so that my visits to her wouldn't coincide with an activity that I know she enjoyed, like playing bingo. Um, they said they used to put together that kind of a schedule, but they decided to stop doing that because they wanted the flexibility to be able to adapt the day's events or activities to something that an individual who might be having a hard time um, would enjoy. So I really appreciated this. So continuing along down the hallway, you glimpse into other residents' rooms, and it's nice to see their individual personalities reflected in the way their rooms are decorated. And I'll end the tour at my mother's room, which is a lovely private room. It has a window that overlooks a green space behind the building. We've put up pictures of the family, brought in a few pieces of furniture, all of that to make it feel like home for her. More important than the physical layout, and this was mentioned by the previous speaker as well, are the people who work there. Many of the staff at Osgood have been there for years, which means a couple of things to me. It means that they have more time to get to know the residents better as individuals, so to know their likes and even their dislikes. It also suggests that they enjoy working there, or they wouldn't stay long term. My overall impression is certainly that the staff are happy and enjoy their work, which I think is reflected in their interaction with the residents and the care that they provide for them. I see evidence all the time that no matter what the specific role the staff have, whether they're a PSW, a nurse, or a cleaning staff, they all take the time to pause what they're doing if a resident needs help with something, or even they might just pause to have a little chat with them. And this has always impressed me at Osgood. When asked to be a part of the seminar, one of the questions we were asked to think about was, did I feel like a partner in the care team? And certainly without hesitation, my answer is yes. Knowing that, well, so overall, we feel very fortunate that our mother is at the Osgood Care Center, and knowing that she's in the good hands of people who care for her and more importantly, care about her is very comforting to our family. So thank you for taking the time or giving me the opportunity to share this, the story of how my mom's doing at the Osgood Care Center. Thank you.
Thanks, Albert. I feel like I know I can walk down the hall with you. And your timing was absolutely perfect. Donna, we'll swing over to you.
Thank you. I call this my journey with Mom. So my mother, Kay, was a war bride. She came to Canada at 21. She's now 102. She lived in her own apartment until she was 95, with me giving a fair amount of care. When I found her car keys in the freezer and the kettle stuck to the top of the stove, I knew it was time to get her more care. And she moved into a retirement home for 2 years. It was pretty successful because she really enjoyed all the activities, but she got sick, and then we had to make the choice with her to move into a long-term care facility. She now lives at the Glebe Centre in Ottawa, which is right across from Lansdowne Park. And no, she cannot see the football games from her room, but she loves going to Winners. And I think this is one of the great advantages of having a long-term care facility in an area that's just bustling with stores and people and things to see out of the window. She's been there now for 5 years, and her room is all done in pink and white bedspreads. It's very feminine. She has a table with 2 chairs outside the window, and she gives me regular reports on who she sees walking by on the street. I'm her primary caregiver. My sister lives in Australia, and my brother is not well, so I got the job. For the past 5 years, the Glebe Centre has been working very diligently to find a new way to care for their residents. In 2019, they began the transition from a medical model of care to a resident-centered care, which is often called emotion-based care. They looked at so many different models, and they finally chose the Butterfly, which was started in Australia. And that was chosen because they really liked the intense staff training that was part of it. The important thing is that the director of resident care, the CEO, and the board president were all in support of the project. And I helped raise the money for it as well. The whole process really slowed down during COVID. We just found that people were so busy just looking after the residents and making sure that they stayed safe. But now we have completed 3 floors, including the Chinese floor, which is all done in Chinese decorations, Chinese colors. It's just the most amazing floor to visit. Another 2 are near completion, and my mother's floor is going to be next, which is really exciting because it's going to be the garden floor with great garden murals on the walls and lots of garden paintings and plants. The Glebe Centre, like a lot of long-term care homes and a lot of hospitals, was painted in those marvelous colors of beige, green, and gray, and it really was very depressing. The Butterfly supports bright, cheerful colors, so you go into the Butterfly areas and the walls are pink and turquoise and yellow. Some of them are orange. On the Chinese floor, we have a lot of red walls as well. Soft music is playing. Staff and family engagement is encouraged. Staff sit next to residents, and this is something that I really love to see. Sometimes they're helping them with the puzzle, but sometimes they're simply doing their charting and holding hands with the resident and chatting at the same time. Residents and caregivers and colleagues really demonstrate a high level of respect and cooperation towards each other. The residents are called by name. The staff know their life story. They know their preferences, they know their needs and wants, and residents are allowed to sleep in on Butterfly and they can get a light meal when they get up. There's also a lot of food choices, and they can eat pretty much what they want as long as they do one main meal a day. Mom and I volunteer on the Butterfly. So here she is, 102, and we go down on a regular basis. Now, I'm never sure who's listening because it appears that everybody is talking at the same time. But it's just so warm and loving to see residents' faces light up when a new volunteer and 2 new volunteers come on the floor to visit them. And sometimes we're welcomed like it's our first time ever, although we've been doing it for a couple of years now. What I've observed is that the staff that are Butterfly trained are very receptive. They're very respectful, and they have that kind of respect not only for the family and residents but also for each other. And I think that it's a much better, healthier way for staff, family, and volunteers to work together. And it's a very happy place. Generally, staff are warm and friendly, and there are lots of smiles. I'm always greeted when I go in, talk to people in the elevator all the time. I mean, I have been going there for 5 years. Some people think I'm staff. So my experience is that caregivers, family partners offering assistance is gratefully and accepted by the staff. As a family care partner, I have a close, warm relationship with the staff at all levels, right from the nurse who hands out the medications to my mom to the kitchen staff who know just how to chop her salad so that she's still able to eat it. We always include mom in the conversations if there are changes in her care, and sometimes she understands and she'll offer quite strong opinions, and other times she'll just smile sweetly like the little angel she is, and you just wonder what's going on in that head of hers as she just kind of smiles and looks off into the distance. But it's important to advocate. And I do a lot of advocating, not only on behalf of my mom, but I find that there's so many people in long-term care who have nobody that can speak for them. If they don't have a dedicated family member or a close friend, there's nobody that says, look, they really need to go to the bathroom, that will take the time to just pat their shoulder and say, what's today like for you? What's happening? And I think it's really important that we advocate as family members on behalf of those that cannot advocate for themselves. I find that the staff have been very respectful of my observations and my input. Caregiving takes a great deal of energy, planning, time, and it's really hard, I find, to find a good life balance. I'm a widow, so I don't have responsibilities for looking after anybody else. And so mom is my main focus. But after months and often years, caregivers start to wear down. I wanted to be a competent caregiver, and I also wanted to do something for myself. So I decided that I would take some courses. It helped me with my confidence, but it was also a wonderful experience. Meeting other people who were experiencing the same type of problems and frustrations, we spent hours talking together and tried to find solutions. And we would often approach the staff to help with problem solving. I've completed 2 hospice end-of-life courses, and currently I'm taking a caregivers program. This is my second one. I was chosen to take the Butterfly training because I helped raise the money for the program, and I told them I couldn't raise the money if I didn't know what the program was all about. And that has really given me invaluable insights into the whole way that long-term care operates. The courses that I took were very valuable. I can now know much better what to expect as mom's health continues to decline. I know what questions I have the right to ask and what I can expect in her changing care plan. Knowing and understanding the buzzwords to use has also been really helpful. It's made me much more effective as an advocate. All the courses that I took are free. 3 out of 4 was free, and they're all offered on Zoom. So they are definitely worth looking into. It just gives you a whole new way of looking at the situation. 6 days a week, I go to feed my mother, and it takes an hour. So you really can't expect the PSWs to do that. They just simply don't have that kind of time when they have so many residents to feed. I sometimes go at lunch, I sometimes go at dinner, and I find that switching gives me the opportunity to check out the quality and the quantity of the food, and also to look at what the choices are at each meal. The staff on my mother's floor are warm, they're compassionate, they're caring, and they will become wonderful butterfly staff. They take the time to ensure that her needs are met. They take her to activities. There's lots of music. I help with bingo. They call me the bingo queen. And they always take the time. Things that were really important to my mom always was how she looked. So they put on her lipstick, they put on her rouge. Sometimes it's 2 little really bright spots, and they ensure that her earrings are on every day and her clothes match. There's nothing worse than going in and seeing your mother in an orange shirt with purple pants. She always looks clean. She looks well groomed. Her hair is always done, and she's happy. So if she's happy, I'm happy. The staff respond truthfully and completely when questioned, and we have a wonderful doctor who has really taken a lot of time to get to know my mother. He's always very quick to call me if there's any change in her health or in her medication. We need to make significant changes in long-term care. We have to keep exploring different ways of making sure that we have the right model that meet the residents' cares, that meet the residents' needs and their wants, but also the family caregiver needs and wants. And accepting a caregiver and family partners' concerns, because we know our loved ones better than anyone. Life is about choices, and we have to offer programs that give choices, like getting up when you want to, like having a lighter meal. We need to get away from this whole way of time-sensitive tasks that are the medical model. Like you get up at 8, you're dressed, you're in your wheelchair, you're in the dining room by 8:10, and you're out of the dining room by 9 o'clock. It has to stop. We have to let people have the choice of being able to be self-determining. And as care partners, we can help lead the way. We can make sure that there's better comprehensive care. Many of us are getting to the age and stage where we will need long-term care. And we have to make sure that it's a long-term care that we want to have. I don't want to live in a hospital ward. I want to live on a butterfly model. I want to be surrounded by bright, cheerful staff, bright, cheerful people. And I want to have a partnership with the staff, like Mom and I have with the staff that look after her. Sometimes I'm cranky, and sometimes I'm tired, and sometimes I just roll my eyes. But I have found that the butterfly model and the whole model of care that is exemplified by the Glebe Center is the kind of care that I want for myself. So it's the kind of care that I want to ensure that my mother has as well. If she's happy, I'm happy. And through this whole journey, I've met some incredible people, both staff, volunteers, other residents, and I sometimes think that these are truly the angels on earth.
Thank you, Donna. I think we've met some pretty amazing people. 3 stories, very different, but the voice of the family came through, and that's what we wanted to hear. It's not just the staff, it's not just the residents, it's not the home, it's not the fancy colors, it's how you feel while you're there, and you've made that come alive. Marg, what kind of questions in that and I encourage you to put them in the chat or stick your little hand up and say, have you got a question?
So while I wait for questions, I do have a comment. And so often in the past, anyway, I've heard people say, I don't want to go into that home. I don't want to go to die. And what all three of you have described is that your family member live in homes where they live.
Yes.
They have a life and they're happy. They're contented and all different models, but all the same philosophies in some way, shape, or form. You've talked about physical environments, you've talked about staff, you've talked about how people come to you and greet you and make you feel part of the care team. All the same, no matter what model is used in that respect, it's that person-directed care that you're describing, but in a model that's home. And I thought, Judy, it was quite remarkable where you said at your place in Providence, you've got the title Home for Us, and that you feel you found your place in that home. So really a true partnership in what is happening in your home. There was one question, and it was with something you said, Judy, in terms of separation. You mentioned separation and you never felt that. And if you just give us a little bit more information, I suspect it's around finances and tax credits, but I could be wrong. Just explain maybe how that came about.
Well, it's all about when you do your income tax, you file it as a single person,
Right.
and you get your
Yes.
pensions as if you're a single person. So it's to your benefit. It's
Yes.
just when I did my income tax, I had to tick separated. And it was shocking to me because I'm still very, very married. It's just we're living apart. And I
Yeah.
kind of had to work my way around that and realize we're still married.
I think the real term, if you look it up, is involuntary separation, even though you said it. Involuntary separation is
That
probably
sounds better. They should change the form.
right.
Yes.
Um, yes, so it was related to income tax, and I hope that answered the question that one of the participants listening posed. I guess when I listen to all these stories, and I, like you, Donna, and the rest of you, want to make sure when I need long-term care that it has something of one of the aspects of all of what you've described. So, how do we make that happen? I mean, I am sure in your circle of friends, let me ask you this. Do any of your friends, your neighbors or whoever, have others in long-term care homes that aren't like the ones you're experiencing? Do people talk to you at all about what's happening in your home and that their experiences are different? Do you ever get into conversations like that? Just wondered. Because not
Well,
all homes have an innovative model, right? A lot of homes, in fact, in Ontario, I don't know about BC, we have over 630 homes. And of those 630 homes, there are not innovative models within them. There's maybe, I don't even know the number, 60, 70 homes that might have gone down that road. So the rest of the homes are a hospital look to them. That's what it is. So I guess my question is, do you ever get asked this?
well, I think I'm in a good position to speak on that because I've seen both. Like the views before the new build, it was institutionalized and it was overcrowded. There weren't enough staff. Everybody was stressed out because they had so much to do. And I don't really think the staff did their very best, but they were understaffed as far as I'm concerned. And then we moved to the new build, and there were more staff per resident ratio. Totally different. The staff could spend time with Lauren, they could spend time with all the residents, just like night and day. So I have seen both and seen the impact on the residents and the family members.
Good. Anyone else?
Mhm.
Yes, Donna. Donna?
It's interesting because I have several friends who have family members in long-term care, and it really it is such a wide range of ways of looking after people. But the one thing that I often hear is they don't listen to me. They're not listening to my mother, brother, sister, whatever. And I just don't feel heard. And I'm often asked, what's your experience? And I always feel heard. Now, I'm not shy, and I will advocate and I will speak up because it's really important. The only way that we can change the system is to make people aware of what the issues and the problems are. And I tell my friends the same thing. Be sweet, but tell them what it is that you need and what it is your loved one needs.
Right. I agree in that respect, Donna. And we have another question here, which you alluded to, Judy, in your presentation. Do you know, and Judy, you did say, do you know the ratio between staff and residents on your the home where your loved one is living? Is it, I think, Judy, you mentioned 12 to 2, was it, or something?
Yes, yes. But at meal times, Lauren's household, there's extra feeders, which mean they need attention to help them feed. So then they will bring in other staff from other areas where needed.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Do you know, Ingrid, anything about staff to resident ratios where you are? Or
No, I don't. I think that's a very good question. But my impression is that I've never um, felt that I had to search long and hard to find someone to help my mom for a specific. And then the same thing in the dining room. There's extra people in there helping to feed those that can't eat themselves. So it is a good question, but my impression is there's always lots of staff around. And as I made the comment in my presentation about the fact that staff don't hesitate to step in to help a resident, even if it's not their specific role. And that's always impressed me. It's just they stop, they help. Cleaning staff will help if someone needs help to get to their room or something. So that's another layer. It's not, they're not restricted to a certain role. But again, it's a good question. I don't know the numbers, but I've never had the impression that there's not enough staff around to help residents.
what's interesting with what you've just said is that staff, you know, the staff that you've all described are so caring and respectful and wanting to help and all the rest of it. And I'm not sure which one said that staff had been there for some time. I think it was you, Ingrid,
Yeah.
which triggered in me the question, the staff are happy. So you don't have that many new staff coming, do you? Am I correct in that assumption?
That is correct. I mean, people have been
Okay.
time. The thing, and we did I didn't talk about the model bench, but I know that in the Eden alternative model, training of staff is an important part too, because if the staff aren't happy doing their work, a sort of a separate thing. They get training, but also the philosophy is if the staff aren't happy, they can't be the best support for the residents. So that is an
Right.
important part of the model. And I've always, not that I've asked people individually, but my impression is they do enjoy working there. They love the residents. They really care for them.
Right. And it's not to say that that doesn't happen in other long-term care homes
Mm.
either. I know it does. So I don't want to leave that impression. Um, and I guess any final thoughts you have, how do we make it better? What do we need to do? Like our role at CARP, as Carol alluded to, is that we're an advocacy working group trying to make institutions turn institutions into homes, trying to advocate for that to happen. It's a difficult process, but we keep plugging away at this process. What else could we do? Any suggestions? I know Donna said it takes caregivers. Yes, Donna.
Yeah, it takes an initiative of talking to your local council people and federally, provincially, the municipally as well. We have all those tracts of land in Ottawa that they're looking at for affordable housing, and there's a lot of small groups here that are pushing to ensure that we have some sort of a seniors village put in some of this land. But it's just constant bringing this the whole issue of long-term care. I mean, there's so many of us as baby boomers that are now just about to hit 70, between 78 and 80. We're going to need care at some point in time. There's not enough beds.
No, there's not enough beds. And we all know the money's short in so many ways in our life. But we'll always need long-term care. There'll always be a need for long-term care. And we all know that. And hopefully we can live in long-term care as opposed to just think of it as a place to just fade away. I don't think that's correct either. So, yes, getting involved. I think that's so important. And it sounds like all three of you are involved in the long-term care homes that you have your family member in. And it's just wonderful to chat with you and hear your stories. And I know it's not been easy for some of you to do it, but you have been wonderful. Really wonderful. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Carol, any final words before we turn it over to Taeyong?
No, I fully echo what you said. It was a joy to listen to everybody. I often wonder if the homes take the caregivers and the family and say, we need to teach you about Eden or butterfly or whatever. But it sounds like it happened naturally. And that's a good feeling.
Yeah, I sat in on a seminar years ago that the Osgood Care Center gave about the Eden model so that family members would understand what they were trying to accomplish with this model they were introducing into the home. So I found that very helpful, and it just set in my mind the thought that as I see things, I thought, oh, that they really are implementing this model that was described in a seminar.
And each home, if they go down one of the paths of the models, needs to make sure families are very much involved in this and not leave them out in that. So thank you for sharing your thoughts and your wishes and your hopes for the rest of us when we get there. We'll turn it back to Kate.
Thank you so much, Carol and Margaret, for co-hosting this webinar with Family Councils Ontario. Thank you so much to our speakers, Ingrid, Judy, and Donna, for sharing your stories and for being with us here today. I think we've all learned something and we've all got to go through this journey with all of you. So thank you so much. It is really, really precious. And Family Council Ontario is so fortunate to collaborate with CARP Ottawa and to bring these events to our audience. So thank you to everybody who is present here today. As mentioned, this webinar has been recorded, so you can view it once more if you would like, and you can also share it with anybody in your circle who would be interested. So we do have another CARP and FCO webinar before the end of the year on December 10th. It is a Wednesday, just like this one, from noon to 1. Registration will be ready very shortly. So we look forward to seeing you there. And thank you so much, everybody. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.